ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crossing Borders. We got a big show today. Of course, Alex is getting ready to jet off down to Mexico for LUX Fight League 23 this weekend. The Battle of Puebla. No, your calendars aren't wrong, but this is LUX Fight League. They're going down here June 17th to throw down Marco Beltran versus Fito Rubio. It's going to be a big-time main event for the Bantamweight title. Of course, we got Francisco Patron in the co-main event, so a lot of stuff to talk about. But Alex, how you doing, buddy? We missed a week. How you doing right now?
I know, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. What's going on?
It's been a couple weeks. Yeah, you went to Mexico. You did your thing. We did the recap, and then I was busy, and then here we are. Here we are once again, giving the people what they want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we're talking about LUX Fight League and going down to Puebla, which is a place that I haven't visited.
I'm about to say, excited. You always love visiting new places.
It's my favorite thing to do, man. This is why I love this job, man. Going out to different parts and getting to know Mexico and Puebla, man. A lot of history down there, you know.
For those that don't know, Puebla is not very far from Mexico City, about southeast, probably like, I don't know what, like about 90 miles or something like that. It's not very far.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty close. Couple states over, southeast of Mexico City. Of course, famous for the Battle of Puebla when the French invasion of Mexico. Of course, the Spanish were outmanned, outgunned, and held down and won the battle. Sent the French commander back retreating. He got fired because they were so embarrassed. A true story. He got relieved of his duties after they lost that Battle of Puebla. And of course, Americans drank their asses off every May 5th to celebrate it, just for Mexico.
There you go. Yeah.
Most Mexicans don't even know what May 5th stands for, but we do. We do. We're
it's
like,
a
that's
big
the day
here.
Trump.
You know, when I grew up in high school here in Chula Vista. So, Cinco de Mayo, we celebrated with like a lot of ballet folklorico, where the Mexican ladies, they dance in their big colorful dresses, and the machetazos, so they have like machetes that they, dance around with. And
yeah, you're on the American side of the border.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's where everybody celebrates it. Mexico's just like, it's just May 5th. What's the point?
It's we call it Chula Juana, where I was born, because we border Mexico and there's Tijuana on the other side of the border. It's Chula Juana.
Chula Juana, that's cute.
I knew you didn't know that one.
Speaking of that, though, before we get into the fight card, I got to get your thoughts. Top Gun 2 just came out, staged and right in your backyard, right there on North Island. Did you see the movie yet?
I haven't seen it, but my wife is eager to go and watch.
You got to see it.
Is it good?
You're old like me. You remember the original.
I do.
This one is just as good as the original.
What? Really?
I think the stories could have been extended a little bit longer, but you can't have a 3-4 hour movie. But it has the feel of the original, which is really dope.
What the hell is Tom Cruise still doing in the Navy is my question.
Is he still in the Navy? I guess you got to watch to find out.
I guess. All right, I'll watch it. I'm really looking forward to it.
They did a really good job of mixing in some of the old with some of the new. They even got Val Kilmer in there for a minute. He's battling the throat cancer and stuff.
Oh,
so he was in there for a second. They just did it really well. They did it really well. I heard Dave Burke, who's like a big time instructor of the Top Gun program and like top guy in the country, he gave it a thumbs up. And if Dave Burke, if you're a military guy, you know who Dave Burke is. If Dave Burke gives it a thumbs up, then you know it's good. So,
right. Well, I'm going to be watching that.
And just remember to suspend your disbelief a little bit. It is still Hollywood. There might have been real flying. It might have been real what a jet would have really done, but it is still Hollywood. It is still a story. No, Tom Cruise is not getting court-martialed and sent to jail for the rest of his life for everything he's done in the first movie or this one. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. That one in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, my wife wants to see Jurassic World Park, whatever the combination final movie it's going to be. I'm not excited about it. I got mad they brought back all the originals. I was really digging the new one. I like keeping the world separate.
So that's interesting. You don't mind that the original cast from Top Gun got called back, but
well, first of all, it's only two people from the original.
What in
Top Gun? It's only Tom Cruise, and then Val Kilmer has a small part. That's it.
That's it.
All new.
Oh wow. Okay.
They didn't call back Kelly McGinnis because she's not 20 something anymore, so they got Jennifer Connelly in there, who's no offense to Kelly McGinnis, but Jennifer Connelly's aged a little bit more gracefully.
Okay.
And Kelly herself said, "Hey, I'm an old woman now. I look like I'm supposed to look," because she's in her 60s now. But all the rest is the new crew. The story is centered. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but the story is centered around Miles Teller being Goose's son in this big mission, and the rest you can see from trailers or go watch the movie. But that's it. Everybody's brand new.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got it.
So good story, good movie. Definitely go watch. I'll go check out Jurassic World. But before everybody tunes out, Alex, we are here to talk about some Mexican mixed martial arts. And buddy, you're getting ready to head down to Puebla for a big show. First time Lux has been down there. First time you've been down there. Of course, with Francisco Rivera calling the fights with you guys. And then you got that main event. It's been kind of moved around. Marco Beltran's been moved around a little bit. Fights keep getting canceled. Finally got and before we get out of here today, I got to talk about Draco Casio from the last show. We forgot to mention something. We'll finish off the show. Make sure you guys pay attention to the end of the show because I want to get your thoughts on something that we skipped over last time. But because it was we're all talking about the walk-off knockout, we totally forgot about the big story actually behind the title fight. But we'll get to that at the end of the show. This is about 23, not 22.
No.
And that's also called a segue. Anyway, bantamweight title on the line, your division, your love. Going against a guy I don't really know much about. They've hyped him up a little bit, Fido Rubio. Break down his main event for us. Tell us what to expect.
Well, first of all, the history behind, getting Marco Beltran back in the title, back on defending his title reign has been just completely just halted and extended for, I would say, about a year now, right?
I say, what's it been, like 3 cancel fights?
I want to say 2. I want to say 2. And there was some fights with contracts and all that stuff. But, Marco
we see more Marco commenting on the fights from Instagram than we do and Twitter than we do actually fighting in the cage now.
Yeah, 100%. But that was with Babyface Patron, right? Like,
who coincidentally is on the co-main now.
Who's in the co-main event. It's like, okay,
they're still not fighting.
Hey, the MMA gods do not want to see that fight, just like they don't want to see Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. The gods do not want that to happen, and they just made it that way. So,
and you're right. Almost exactly a year. The last time he fought was last June 25th against David Mendoza.
Yeah, exactly. And he fought David Mendoza twice, right? So I'm looking at this as is Marco Beltran getting bored here? I mean, because we're trying to get him fights, and he can't get in down there against some of the top contenders. But now we got him. UFC, Fito Rubio, who's been fighting in the UFC, and also got I believe already has a fight already with LUX Fight League. So he's got some backgrounds in there, and I've been watching some of his fights with I think he was fighting. This will actually be
his third fight.
His third fight with LUX, right? And
so he's fought. He lost to Vallejo and he beat Marquez Moreno.
And, well, and he also has that really awesome performance fight against Yair El Pantera Rodriguez. So, so he's got a lot of experience coming into this fight. He usually fights at 145 pounds. He's dropped down at 135. I think he's been at 135 for the last 2 fights. I think it takes some adjustment there for him. But I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup going up against Marco Beltran. Both strikers. I think Beltran's the more elusive fighter, the more aggressive and sneaky, and very much like Draco Casio, like very kind of just brutal and dangerous.
I think it's important to note, though, also, Alex, this is actually a rematch.
Oh, okay. Well, that's important to know. Yeah, of course.
People didn't know this, and I didn't know it until I looked it up. They actually fought back in 2013. Not a lot of details are on it. It's just listed as a regional fight down in Mexico, and Fido won that fight. So Beltran's got a little bit of revenge on his mind for this one too.
It's really interesting. Yeah, and both guys.
I mean, it's been 9 years, but yeah.
And there's been a lot of evolution between, since that time. 2012, is that when you said it was?
2013, yeah. Funny enough, this you'll get a kick out of this. on Cinco de Mayo in 2013. These two fought, and now they're actually fighting in Pueblo 9 years later.
Can you remind me? Was that a decision loss?
It doesn't say. It just says win for Rubio.
No round, no second round, no first round, nothing. Just
it says Mexico regional for both that and the fight. Like most of the fights he has from 2013 on back, which I'm guessing Tapology just doesn't have deep Mexican records from 2013 back.
Yeah, that's probably the case. Well, it'll be interesting to talk to those guys and kind of see a little bit more of a background story on that. But I could tell you, like, Marco Beltran, one of his Achilles heels is, no pun intended, but is jiu-jitsu, right? Like, really have, we saw what Diego Lopez did to Marco Beltran real fast with a leg lock, or a knee bar, excuse me. And it was so fast and so quick. So, and I know he's no slouch on the ground as well. But I would say for the majority of this is going to be a stand-up battle. And I think I think Marco Beltran is just the slicker, more active, definitely more arsenals in his striking game than Pito Rubio. Pito Rubio doesn't quit, man. He comes forward, he stays in the pocket, and he'll take 2 punches to give you a good one. So I think that's going to make this kind of a really good stylistic matchup for both these guys.
So you mean to say they're going to fight like a Mexican?
I'm not sure if that's going to be the case on this one. I think this is going to be Pito Rubio is going to fight like a Mexican. I think I think he's
Beltran's going to be a little bit more measured.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit more measured. I think he's also going to be a little bit, like I said, what I like about Marco is when I watch him is he's got really good style, man. His style is so brutal. He's a counter fighter. He doesn't sit there and stands and bangs with his opponents. He stalks his prey, and he's very meticulous in how he attacks. So and over time, and I think that's just shown, his experience, and that's why he's a fun guy to watch, because he's very unpredictable.
Look, I mean, both these guys got a world of experience. People don't know this, but Pito Rubio was on the first season of UFC, the Ultimate Fighter the Latin American series. He was on the first season. That was like shortly after him and Beltran fought the first time. Marco Beltran's been in the UFC for, he had like 3 fights in the UFC. He wasn't successful there, but he came back and won 3 out of 4 since he's come back to LUX Fight League. He hasn't been very active the last couple years. Like, this is only his 3rd fight in 2 years. The 2 David Mendoza fights were almost a year apart. Now this fight, of course, he's had a couple fights against Patron canceled, which is just ironic. They're not fighting on this card, and they're actually fighting different opponents. Yeah, because like, you've both been trying. You finally both got to fight day. You both, fight week. But I guess if something happens to any opponent, they can just throw them in together, I guess. But that would just be the gods playing a funny joke on everybody if they did end up fighting somehow this weekend.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I mean, I'm actually a little nervous about them being being together in the same hotel, in backstage at the weigh-ins and all that stuff, because Michael Beltran doesn't stop, man. He's legit, dude. He's a Mexican gangster, man.
Alex, you see this thing?
Yeah.
I've been asking you to get like Jorge Masvidal, Yair Rodriguez, everybody else you've been getting. Just a little, hey, crossing borders.
Okay.
But if there's a fight, you better go World Star and pull out that phone. you better.
I will.
You better be like, hey guys, stop.
Boom. Yeah.
They're like recording it.
That'll be fun.
So who do you think takes this one?
I'm gonna get you one. I owe you that. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm terrible at this.
So who wins this fight? Beltran, Rubio?
I think Marco Beltran has the much better striking. I think he's gonna win this fight by finish. I think maybe possible TKO early too. I think it's gonna be an early one. I think round 1 or 2.
I mean, I think looking at the resumes, I think it's probably going the distance. Okay. But I do expect Beltran. I think Beltran's had the more success lately. A little bit higher level of competition over the last few years. So I would expect Beltran to win too. But like I said, I don't know much about Rubio. I just know his resume. And his resume says this guy is not a pushover. So
yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. But I mean, and both another thing to note, both these guys, I think Marco Beltran is 36 and Pito Rubio is 35, I believe.
Yeah, they're both up there.
Yeah, yeah. So they're, that's why I think. But the one that's had the his style of fighting has more longevity is Marco's style. Pito
Marco
Rubio.
also has a little bit more height and reach in his fight too, so that could be an advantage too, especially when he's
Yeah,
more measured. So,
exactly, exactly.
all right, over in the co-main event, the aforementioned Francisco Patron. Uh, it's just funny they're not fighting each other. He's fighting Alan Tiger Zuniga. Tell us what you know about these guys.
Well, Patron, like we've just been talking about him, he's been the guy that's been tearing up the 135-pound division, the standout. I should say the standout. Taking fighters last minute notice, comes in and rips them apart. He's just a guy that has like literally his nickname is Babyface, and it's because he looks like a 10-year-old boy. It's crazy. Comes in there and he's a killer in there, man. He'll perform really well under a lot of pressure, and I think that's why Henry Briones, the matchmaker, really offered him the opportunities to go and fight for the title at 135 pounds and taking on Michael Beltran, who's got all kinds of experience. So it's going to be, he had a big step up. Unfortunately, those two fights did not happen. And now he's going to be facing, it's another great opportunity here, another leg up from the promotion, giving him a former Ultimate Fighter, the Ultimate Fighter fighter that has a bunch of experience as well, like Alan Zuniga, who fought for, I believe he fought Draco Cosillo, Alan Zuniga at 155 pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Luke 7.
So, and in that fight, I remember Alan Zuniga was coming in and just staying in front of Draco Cosillo and eating some of the hardest punches that I've ever seen anybody take. So, I mean, Alan Zuniga's got like a really good, a solid chin, and he stands in the pocket and he is trying to deliver and trying to get that finish from you. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Babyface Patron does have a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Zuniga, I'm not exactly sure if the ground game is if it's his forte or not coming into this fight, but I can tell you he's no slouch, and he hung in there with Draco Cosillo and ate some of the best shots.
Yeah, I mean Francisco's 8-0. He's the prospect that can't miss. Him and Beltran, they're supposed to have that fight a couple times, didn't work out. Now they're on the same card. I'm guessing if Francisco wins his fight, he's next. I would think he has to be. And then he's fighting a guy who has a world of competition, but has also lost 5 fights in a row if you count the time on the Ultimate Fighter. So he's probably the most dangerous guy you could fight because he has nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to come in that cage. If I lose, all right, who cares? It's 6 in a row, whatever. But if I win, then, all of a sudden I'm back.
Yep.
You got to remember this kid, he's 13-4. The one loss, the fifth go back 5 losses was considered an exhibition on the Ultimate Fighter. It doesn't count, right? Because it's, it's their behind the scenes tournament of who gets to the Ultimate Fighter, right?
Right.
So anybody that loses in like the build up of the Ultimate Fighter, like when they're like going through and wearing and cutting people down, is considered an exhibition. It's not actually a technically fight on your record. Right. So technically he's lost 4 in a row, but he was undefeated before this losing streak. He was 13-0. He was another can't miss guy. He's only 30 years old.
Yeah.
World of experience. So this is a dangerous fight. Yeah, this is a dangerous fight for Francisco Patron. And if he wants that title, he's got to come out and do his thing. And I'll even do it a step further, Alex, because we've seen Dana's definitely got his eye on LUX Fight League. You got 2 guys now fighting in Dana White's Contender Series in July and August.
Yep.
With Bam Bam and Alessandro. They're both fighting. Francisco wins again, especially if he wins dramatic fashion. Forget the Bantamweight title. He might be on Dana White's Contender Series. Because then he'd be 9-0. And like I said, Dana's watching every show now. Yeah. Or at least his people are.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, like I said, I can't stress that enough. It's a huge opportunity for Patron to come and really solidify his position, not only in LUX Fight League, but also in in the UFC and his potential hopes for that. I mean, being a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I think he's been training there with. I think he's part of the same team in Puebla, so I think it's his hometown, and I think his team is also with Diego Lopez, Alessandro Nana Acosta, those kind of guys. And their jujitsu is really good fundamentals and beautifully tailor made for mixed martial arts.
Isn't the Brazilian Warriors team? Isn't that also with like Alexa Grasso in them too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Alex Gross is also with that team. I'm not exactly sure where they're at. All I know is that they're always together, and there's two different gyms. So but
So they're going back and forth between Brazil and Mexico.
no, they're both in Mexico. One's in Puebla, and the other one's in Guadalajara, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, or Mexico City, but I'll have to get the down low on that. But
I mean, we talked about it too. That home crowd advantage is crazy, and you get him in his hometown of Puebla when they probably don't have very many events there, and now they got LUX Fight League coming to their hometown. It's going to be a huge hometown effect. Now you never know if that's going to hurt you because you're worried about giving out tickets and doing everything except for the fight, or if you're like extra pumped up because you have the entire arena chanting your name. It could go both ways.
Right.
But I think it's a big advantage, especially with the Mexican crowds and how passionate they get into some of those shows. We saw it with the girl that beat Vias Mill a couple shows ago when she was the hometown in Monterrey. Who won the title? When Danielle Vias Mill lost.
Sarai?
No, that before that.
Tony Torres, no. Sarai Orozco.
Now you're making me look unprepared.
Damn it. Now,
all right, well, while I'm looking that up, who's winning this fight?
Ooh, this is a toss-up, man. This is going to be a tight one. Because of the latency and the lack of fighting for babyface Patron and the kind of.
And I was thinking of Alba.
Oh, just Alba.
Alba when you guys fought in Monterrey because she was the hometown girl.
Okay, yeah, she tore up the house.
Victoria Alba.
Yep, Victoria Alba. Thank you, man. Well, like I was saying, toss up in this one. Hey, híjole. I would have to put it on Patron. If I would have put the money on this stuff, I would have to go with Patron on this one. Only because he's got so much potential. He's a brown belt, and he's always performed. He's like a game day fighter.
You're hilarious.
What?
You're hilarious.
How
if you would put money on this thing, Alex challenges me to bet like every other episode.
Let's put some money on it.
I got Patron too. I think it's his fight to lose. I think he's on the 8-0. The other guy's on a 4/5 fight losing streak. I think all the momentum's on his side, and he's hungry. He wants that title. He wants the opportunity, and I don't know why they didn't put him together this time. Maybe it was just Beltran was tired of playing that game, and they wanted to make Patron earn it one more time. But it doesn't matter because both these guys are going to put on a show. And they're going to have to fight each other eventually. And if it doesn't happen here, then I think it's because Francisco Patron went to the UFC.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I think Beltran's time has passed. He had his moment in the UFC. Didn't work out. He fought a bunch of tough opponents. He fought, current champion Davison Figueiredo, Matt Schnell, Joe Soto. Like he fought like tough dudes. No shame in the losses that he has, but you go in with 3 losses, you're 35 years old, you don't get too many more shots.
Yeah, that is true.
If he was 25, he'd probably be back.
Oh, yeah.
But not at 35. That doesn't mean he can't go to Bellator or PFL or somewhere else or Combate or stay right there in LUX Fight League headlining events and building up LUX more and more. Or just being a commentator on Twitter or Instagram. He does a great job at that too.
Yep. He's a great fighter he's a great social media warrior.
Man, he hates on everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Every fight, he's like, they're garbage. That's crap. I can beat them. Every main event.
That is so rad, man. That's why I like that guy.
He has no chill. He has no chill.
Yeah, yeah, fun to watch, man. And really, and his style is sneaky, man, which is what I really enjoy. You know, I've been studying him, and every time it's in all his fights and in preparation for his fights, and you can actually see me. I was like, oh, he's getting ready for a flying knee. Watch this, flying knee coming up. And sure enough, like right as I'm calling it, bam, flying knee, just like counter, boom. Yeah, he's really fun, man. He's really fun to watch. So he's don't miss that main event if you're watching it.
Hopefully, we get these two matched up sooner than later. But also in that card, we got the ladies. We got Ellie Rodriguez. She's going against Alma Cespedes. We got Thunder Suarez versus Goku Arana. Another ladies fight, Andrea Vasquez versus Linda Martel. Any of those other fights kind of stand out to you?
You know, a lot of the fights that are coming up on this fight card, you know, are first timers. You know, we'll have to see how they do in the big lights. You know, and I love that. There's like new blood coming in, right? Because we've really have a lot of narratives with different weight divisions, and some fights that we can't even put together anymore, like Bam Bam Valenzuela. So this is, you know, I'm looking forward to watching these new guys coming in and setting up this whole new, you know, storyline with LUX Fight League, man. But all I gotta say is that whenever I see the girls on the fight card, they tend to put up a one hell of a performance every single time, and it's exciting to watch. Tani versus Saray Orozco was a great fight, man. That championship bout was one of my favorite fights that I can remember off the top of my head right now.
I'm hoping they run that back. I'm hoping they settle whatever like contract disputes with Tanya, and I hope they run that back.
Yeah,
because there's not. I mean, there's a couple people there in line to fight Orozco, but that's the fight people want to see.
People want to see that fight, and you know what's interesting? I heard that she might not even want to fight again. That's the rumor. Well, the rumor mill. No, you know, is that she Tony Torres isn't planning on stepping into a cage anymore.
You know, some people just aren't built for certain lifestyles.
Yeah.
I'll give you all a pop culture reference, right?
Okay.
Doja Cat. She's on top of the world. 5 like top singles in the Billboard 100, whatever, if you're into pop and R&B music and hip hop. But she threatened to quit and retire like multiple times over the last couple of years because every time a fan gives her any kind of criticism, she's just not mentally built for the haters and the detractors. It's like if you don't have positive influence, then she just can't handle it. She admitted it. She admitted like maybe I'm not meant for this life, and she keeps like I'm retired, I'm done. And then you know somebody's like you got 5 top hits, go make him another single, you know.
Yeah.
But in this case, Tiny Torres like same thing. Like she got a lot of hate and criticism when that fight fell apart for the rematch for her and Orozco. Fair or not fair, but the truth is you didn't want to take the money and you didn't want to take whatever scene in LUX. You wanted to go to different scenery, more power to you. But then you realized, hey, there's only really 2 major platforms in Latin America that you can really get a lot of eyeballs, and that's LUX now with UFC Fight Pass and Combate. Now you have UWC and a lot of other promotions, but if you want to be on main TV,
yeah,
it's either LUX or Combate. And you burned the bridge at LUX. Combate didn't want you. So now you're coming back maybe to fight at LUX, but then now you're like, screw it, I don't want to do anything. And I'm just projecting. I don't really know her situation 100%, but it kind of feels that way. Now it's like, oh, now I just don't want to fight no more.
Yeah, yeah.
But she's still super young.
You know, you get into the politics of the whole thing, and you start realizing how the MMA business really is, right? Like how it actually works, and how, you know, how tough it can be, and when you put yourself out there already, you know what other people's opinions are, and you know, when I think about like you just mentioned like the mental aspect of it, you think of like Ronda Rousey when she first lost, man, it was like she just was never the same. You know, she just completely fell off and like was like no longer. She even lost credit with the fans, with her own fans, right? Where it was like, oh, the way she handled it. Oh, and
yeah.
All of a sudden she just lost it all overnight.
It was all the way she handled it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. And you got fighters like Shogun Rua, for instance, you know.
Well, just to finish the thought on Ronda real quick, then she hyped herself up but wouldn't do any press whatsoever going into that Amanda fight, the second fight that she lost. wouldn't do any press, wouldn't talk to anybody. She was just, I'm focused on this. I'm not doing it. Then she got knocked out again and then left the sport. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about the technical difficulties. Obviously, Alex did not like what I was saying about his girl, Ronda Rousey. But I have him on speakerphone for the last couple minutes of the show. We'll go ahead and wrap everything up. Alex, real quick, do you want to finish that thought you were saying? You were talking about another fighter that wasn't mentally tough?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to say that they're not mentally tough per se,
or built for the business.
Built for a loss, really. You know, you look at Ronda Rousey, for instance. We're talking about her and how she took that loss and it just like crippled her. It was just incredible to watch, you know. And you know, I think we were referencing like what was it?
You meant
we were referencing. Yeah, exactly. Like how
you mentioned a male fighter, but I don't remember who you said.
Tanya Torres.
No, you said a male fighter after Ronda Rousey, but I don't remember who you said.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just saying, like, guys that are, like, fan favorites and, you know, lose fights and then come back even stronger with more fan base and more respect. You know what I mean? Like, guys like Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz and you know, who have had, like, crazy losses, you know, over the years. You know, I think, I can't even remember, like didn't Nate, like, lose like 5 in a row, and he was still like headlining fights. And,
he still is. He still is. Whenever he fights again, it'll be somewhere around a co-main event.
Yeah, so it's just nuts, man. It's crazy. I mean, because he's a big fan favorite. He loves to watch those guys. So that, you know, that's no surprise. But anyways, you know, some fighters, like I said, take that. They take those losses like so. You know, just debilitates some of them, and it's just crazy to watch.
Well, Torres' situation is different because she didn't even lose; she won.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
I think maybe inside she feels that she might have lost that fight, and you know, maybe that's why, or the criticism that comes with all of it. You know, when you put yourself out there.
Yeah. But definitely. So, getting back on track. Check out LUX Fight League 23 down in Puebla, Mexico. On June 17th, this Friday night. Of course, Alex will be down there calling it with Francisco X Rivera. Should be a great night of fights. A lot of explosions on UFC Fight Pass. So before we get out of here, Alex, though, I did promise the fans at home I'd tell the Draco Castillo story. So a lot of people don't realize this. Everybody remembers what happened to Charles Oliveira. Coincidentally, also the 155-pound champ. Missed weight, got stripped of the belt, got the big finish, and now is the number one contender for his own championship, right?
Yeah.
Draco Castillo did the same thing. A lot of people don't realize he missed weight before that last fight and was stripped of the title. And because he won via knockout, he's now the number one contender for his own belt once, just like Oliveira. It's the same exact thing.
That's the same. Yeah.
Did you know that was happening? Did they tell you guys?
No. Yeah. It's funny. We were talking about like a lot of the internet trolls were like, they're like, oh yeah, you know what they're probably gonna do is they're gonna give him the belt anyways, you know. And no, that's the case, man. That's absolutely the exact same thing. He got stripped of the title for not making weight, and he missed it by 2 pounds. That's a 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds. That's a long way. But yeah, he's gonna be fighting for his own belt, trying to get that thing back.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
But we all know who the real champ is, you know.
Yeah, same thing with Oliveira. Same thing. It's same division, same exact situation, and it's just crazy because, you know, you get this one. I mean, obviously he missed it by 2 pounds. He wasn't going to go back and try to lose 2 pounds. He probably could have tried to lose 1, but you get this pound allowance your entire fighting career until you get to fight for a title.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, then it's a different rule set, and it's so stupid. Because who cares if you're 155 or 156 or 157? You fight guys bigger or smaller in the gym every day. It's like, what's the difference? The whole point is you don't want a UFC 1 situation where you have a 180-pound man fighting a 400-pound man. Like, you want them to be competitively in the same division area regionally. And it's just ridiculous to me that this even still happens. But it did happen, and now next time you see Draco Castillo fighting for the title, he really will be fighting as a challenger, and it's just crazy. But we know who the champ is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, but that's what it is, man. 155. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules here, Mike, but that's it. That's how it came down, man.
I don't know. I give you about 2 more years till you're the commissioner somewhere.
We'll see. We'll see.
And don't pretend like you don't make the rules for versus.
For versus, yeah, we make the rules for versus. Full Muay Thai rules. It's actually really cool what we're doing. We got amateurs fighting with shin guards and no shin guards, as long as both the camps agree on the shin guards.
It's gonna be dope. When's that event again?
July 23rd.
July 23rd. So we'll definitely talk about more as we get close to that.
Resort. Yeah, it's gonna be badass, man. We're all really excited. We're building up. We're gonna have WBC every single one of them is a WBC champ.
Nice.
Or some sort of Muay Thai championship league, that they're coming in. Everybody's badass. I got the guys over there at CSA competing. I got guys from Team Oyama's. They're competing. We're flying in some dudes from Philadelphia. They're competing. And what else we got? Team Oyama. Who am I missing? A lot of Muay Thai guys, man. It's going to be top level Muay Thai, competition here for versus fighting.
Awesome. Make sure you guys check out Alex's socials. He has all the links and everything to that. It's going to be a great night of fights. Alex is involved. It's going to be fight like a Mexican, whether they're not Mexican or not. It doesn't even matter. Put them in a box and make them fight. It's going to be a fun night, especially with you and Manolo, Manny running everything. So it's going to be fun stuff. Like I said, check out Alex and Francisco this weekend, calling all the fights on UFC Fight Pass. Another great night of fights with Beltran and Rubio going head-to-head. We'll talk about everything next week when he gets back, all the recap of all the action that happens in case you miss it. Check out FightersFirst.shop. I can't believe I waited till now to say that, but check out FightersFirst.shop. Let our apparel be a part of your journey. Support the brand. Support Alex. Give him all your money. Buy the Extremo collection, and show Alex why he's your favorite, because he loves he loves the attention. Just give it to him.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, for Alex Soto, I'm Mike Ginn. This is Crossing Borders. We'll catch you next week with the recap. Until then, enjoy the fights this weekend, and we'll see you then. We're out.